Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all my Manson 130 students. We're going to tackle game theory in this unit, and yes, this is your last unit. Also, in this particular video, I'm going to cover the prisoner's dilemma, which I think you'll find very interesting. All right, folks, so we are in game theory, and game theory is all about making decisions. When chance is not involved, making decisions is easy. When chance plays a role, however, decisions are harder to make. And in a marketing application, let's say you want to reach 100 people. We know emailing is the cheapest, regular mail is most expensive, and calling is most time-consuming. You then realize that many emails never get read, letters usually do, and phone calls often are relayed to voicemail. You're going to have to use what you know about probability to come up with a strategy. So this is a much more complicated situation than probability because we have a lot of situations going on that impact our decisions. Now we will start looking at games versus a rational opponent. Playing against a rational opponent means you are playing against a person who wants to win. And if he/she should lose, they want to lose little as possible. The easiest game to focus on are simultaneous move games, like both players making their move at exactly the same time. A great example is rock, paper, scissors. You might be able to talk your 3-year-old into going first, but when they become a rational player, you won't be able to get them to do that anymore. All right, so here's prisoner's dilemma, and we'll watch a little video on it. The prisoner's dilemma constitutes a problem in game theory, and it's a classical model of prisoner's dilemma is presented as follows. So Miss Red and Mr. Blue, they're interviewed separately because they were caught for a small crime. They were caught being burglars. But also, it turned out that the building that they burglarized ended up burning down, which is a much bigger crime. So the police take them and they put them in separate rooms and they're interviewed separately. And here's the situation. They have the option to either cooperate, and in this case, cooperate means shut their mouths. Right? They're cooperating with their friend. They shut their mouths and they don't tattletale. Or they have the option, what they call in this situation, defect, which is tattletale, or said, oh yeah, the other person did it. Now, in this situation, so here's their mouth situation. This means that they are staying silent. They're not telling on anyone. They're not saying, hey, they did it. So in this situation, they're staying silent. And in this situation, the defect, it means they're tattletaling. Tattletale? An I don't know. Okay, so same thing here. No, I guess like you tell a tale? I don't know. I'm going to spell it both ways just because I want to. So in this situation, let's say they both stay silent. So they say, who committed this crime? And Miss Red says, I'm not telling. And Mr. Blue says, I'm not telling. And they both end up getting 1 year in jail. So 1 year for Miss Red, and 1 year for Miss Blue, or Mr. Blue. Okay, then let's look at this situation where Miss Red says, oh, Mr. Blue did it. And Mr. Blue's a good guy, and he's like, I'm not saying. So in this situation, Red just tattletaled on Blue and said it was Blue, and Blue didn't say anything. So in this case, Red gets 0 years in prison, and since she tattletaled on Blue and Blue didn't say anything, he's going to get 3 years in prison. All right, let's take a look at this situation where Mr. Blue says, oh, Red did it, but Red, is being a good person, is staying silent, saying, I'm not telling on anyone, no, I'm not saying anything. So in this situation, when Red cooperates, doesn't say anything, but Blue tattletales on Red, Blue gets away with 0 years in prison, and Red gets 3 years in prison because he tattletaled on her and she didn't say a word. Okay, now the last situation is when they both tattletale on each other. So Blue says Red did it, and Red says Blue did it, and they tattletale on each other, and they both get 2 years in prison. So that's the prisoner's dilemma. And I wanted to watch a quick video on it, and I'm going to put that in the video link right below this, and I'm hoping that you can take a look at that. All right, that's it for this video. Hope you're having a great day. Make sure you watch the one below it. Thanks.